Mangwanani Malelepo Vukenjani, Klekwas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Bedi. These are some of the top stories that we'll be looking at today. Kenya's President William Ruto has withdrawn the tax plan after the deadly protests. Mozambique to set up camps for repentant Cabo Delgado terrorists. And in South Africa, Party MPs end boycott and take oath. 1up2.com, DSTV 285, GoTV 25, Network Media Hub on YouTube is precisely where you can find us. Top stories after the break.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
In our top stories, Kenya's President William Ruto says he will withdraw a finance bill containing controversial tax hikes after deadly protests which saw Parliament set ablaze on Tuesday. In an address to the nation, he said it was clear that Kenyans want nothing to do with the bill. I concede, he said, adding that he would not sign the bill into law. At least 22 people were killed in the protests, according to the state-funded Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Ruto said he would now enter into dialogue with the young people who were at the forefront of the biggest protest to hit the country since he was elected in 2022. The bill was passed by Parliament on Tuesday, despite nationwide demonstrations against it. Protesters broke into Parliament, vandalizing the interior and setting parts of the complex on fire. The ceremonial mace symbolizing the authority of the legislature was stolen. Ruto initially responded with defiance. He ordered the military to be deployed, saying violence and anarchy would not be tolerated. But he climbed down on Wednesday following an extraordinary demonstration of people power. In his second address to the nation in less than 24 hours, Ruto laid out a very clear rationale for why he thought the tax increases were necessary. The proposed legislation was part of efforts to cut the country's massive debt burden. Now in our next story, Antonio Supeya, Secretary of State of Cabo Delgado province, has announced that insurgents who surrendered to authorities will be rehabilitated and reintegrated into their communities. Antonio Supeya said that the Mozambican government and the International Organization for Migration are working on the creation of 3 transit centers in Muidumbe, Macomia and Mocimboa da Praia districts. Secretary of State Supeya said that the government is creating conditions so that citizens who repent from having allied themselves with terrorist groups could be reintegrated into the community after a period of rehabilitation. Now, the 58 members of parliament from Jacob Zuma's MK party have taken their oaths at the National Assembly 10 days after the official ceremony. Though they still dispute the election results, they have decided to join the opposition as a broad national unity government is being formed. Opponents of President Ramaphosa, including Duduzile Zuma, daughter of former President Jacob Zuma, and former Judge John Hlophe, have now taken their seats. Despite the MK party's aim to abolish the constitution, its MPs swore to uphold it. John Hlophe, now the opposition leader, emphasized, "We are not hooligans." The MK is expected to ally with Julius Malema's economic freedom fighters, totaling 100 seats. This is small compared to the government coalition forming, which holds over 2/3 of the 400 seats. However, the coalition has yet to form a government a week after President Cyril Ramaphosa's inauguration, a sign of potential instability that the opposition hopes will lead to a quick collapse. Now, the first contingent of Kenyan police arrived in the Haitian capital on Tuesday to launch a long-awaited peacekeeping mission in the Caribbean country that has been ravaged by gang violence, even as deadly protests back home prompted doubts. At last, the multinational force is here to support our national police. Haitian Prime Minister Gary Conille said in a press conference, saying work to retake the country would begin slowly without major fights unless necessary. The state will regain power and reaffirm its authority so all Haitians can live peacefully in this country, he said. The mission was first requested by Haiti's previous government in 2022, but support sagged and Conille's predecessor was forced to resign in early March after traveling to Nairobi to secure Kenyan support while violence escalated back in Haiti. The gang wars have now displaced over 500,000 people and nearly 5 million are facing severe food insecurity. Armed groups, which now control most of the capital, have formed a broad alliance while carrying out widespread killings, ransom, kidnappings, and sexual violence. Now, Myanmar junta still able to access weapons and money overseas, says UN report. That was a third less than the previous year, the report said, thanks to efforts by Singapore to prevent its companies from aiding the junta. Andrews told Reuters in an interview that the progress showed that sanctions and other international efforts can have an impact on the junta's ability to resupply and therefore reduce the military's ability to launch attacks like airstrikes that have killed civilians in their villages. The very means by which they are attacking these villages are dependent upon their access to weapons and materials supplied from overseas, Andrews said. Myanmar's military denies accusations it has committed atrocities against civilians and says it is fighting terrorists. Officials have played down the impact of sanctions and said they only delayed the military's plan to return the country to democracy. Andrews looked at purchases by entities controlled by the junta's defense ministry, identifying $630 million in military procurement between 2022 and 2024. All right, we are going to be talking about the Etotha Carnival after the break as Africa Good Morning continues.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Now, Namibia's Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Tourism and Forestry sat down with Diana Massa and they talked about the Etotha Carnival, which is set to happen this weekend. Have a look.
I'll start to say the land of the brave. We are one of the likest in the continent that we have tangible and intangible quite variety of things. We have the cultural value, we have traditional, we just have a lot that have evidence.
Yes.
And looking at this event, it's one of the events that will really show what Namibia has, how rich Namibia is in terms of tourism, in terms of culture, tradition, and all. Yes.
I understand. All right, so can you explain how events like this one boost local tourism and contribute to the economy?
I'll tell you that, a lot of people in the continent, some would not know where Namibia is. But when you mention Namibia, and for one person that have come to Namibia and experienced the beauty of Namibia, you must see when that tourist comes, when that platform where we are explaining to it and how it will capture the other ones that they haven't seen the land of the brave, they always say, we want to come to Namibia. So this event, COVID taught us something.
Yes.
And, during COVID, we lost, most of our young people lost their jobs. Some businesses closed temporarily, some permanently, and that also raised the unemployment. And after that lesson of COVID, we said no, whatever African country has, as a country, we'll go and copy, because we don't say, we don't say how will I say it? We have agreed as African countries in tourism to say, whatever each country is doing, let that country also copy.
Yes.
And have it in that specific, be it Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and also that's what we have agreed. So this event, it will, in terms of local tourism, it will promote employment. It will also help the young generation for them to appreciate what their areas has and what the country has. For example, I'm from Msundwa. It's a floodplain, but yet I don't know a certain area. There must be a historical site.
Yes.
That I didn't know about it. So in this event, it will really give the local community in that area to understand the culture, the whole historical events and areas that is within that salt pan. So it will also, in the long run, it will also, maybe by the end of the day, we prophesy to say there will be investors that would want to invest, may put up a lodge.
Yes.
Then now at the end of the day, a corner of a salt pan, it will be a concession that will bring something to the community.
I like how you put that, because again, most of the time we are so used to seeing these things, but we don't actually know the rich culture, the rich history behind certain things. So it's great that you're shedding light on this. Now, how is the Ministry of Tourism supporting this event, and what goals does the ministry have for its success?
Okay, the Ministry of Environment, being an innovator, we are supporting it financially. Supposed staff, and as well engaging stakeholders, and also because as a ministry, you know, we have Namibia Tourism Board, where after this first event, we'll give it handover to Namibia Tourism Board as one of our parastatal institution that deals with the sustainable economic marketing in terms of tourism. So as for now, as a ministry, we made sure that we bring in our resources. We pulled all the corners, you know, the economical situation. But as a ministry, we have seen that looking at the climate change, tourism will be one. I always proudly say that tourism will be one of the GDP.
Yes.
We are talking of agriculture, but with the climate change, I'm foreseeing tourism to be first GDP in some years to come. So we made sure that as a ministry, we put all our efforts, we put all our strength, whatever we have, the knowledge, we have really invested in this event.
Now, Tourism Minister Pohamba Shifeta spoke at the official opening of the Africa Hospitality Investment Forum. He was speaking on behalf of Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah.
Furthermore to that, I'm proud to say that our tourism sector has demonstrated a parallel resilience after the devastating effect of the COVID-19 pandemic globally. We're not only successfully bouncing back, but beating the tourism arrival numbers recorded before the pandemic in 2019. The statisticians are telling us that our national occupancy rate reached 60.3% in May 2024. This recent figure not only marks the highest room occupancy rate so far this year, but also surpasses the pre-pandemic peak from May 2019.
And now the Henties Bay Land Development Conference kicked off yesterday in Henties Bay. Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Kaush Latvan, addressed issues on fresh water supply and proper sanitation amongst various communities. The minister also mentioned that rivers and dams will become less reliable in the next 5 years.
Of last year. And for the first time, more than half of these people live in urban areas, namely 54.9%. That's the first time that happened. Previously, our rural populations were bigger than the urban. Over the last 50 years, urban populations of Namibia grew substantially from 23.4 to 54.9%, rising at an increasing annual rate that reached a maximum of 2.79% in 2003 and then decreased to 1.72% in 2023. If growth rates at an average of 2.2% persist, next year we will have to accommodate 37,417 more people in towns and villages and close to 500,000 10 years later. And about 1.5 million by 2050.
You're still with Africa. Good morning. Let's have a look at the weather predictions before we return with economic news. Now, German car-making giant Volkswagen says it will invest up to $5 billion in Tesla rival Rivian. The deal creates a joint venture that will allow VW and the US-based electric vehicle maker to share technology. Rivian shares jumped by almost 50% after the announcement. The tie-up comes as competition intensifies between EV makers and Western countries move to impose tariffs on Chinese imports. Under the agreement, VW said it will initially invest $1 billion in the electric truck and SUV maker, with another $4 billion to be put into the company by 2026. Founded in 2009, Rivian has not yet posted a quarterly profit. In the first 3 months of 2024, the company saw a net loss of more than $1.4 billion. VW, like other motor industry giants, has come under pressure from rivals like Tesla and China's BYD as it tries to make the shift from fossil-fueled powered vehicles. Let's have a look at the economic indicators just before Ari brings us the sport.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news first. The Euro 2024 continues, and there were lots of action in Group D and also in Group C of the tournament. And in Group D there were lots of goals and lots of excitement, and what happened there is Austria beat the Netherlands. A bit of a surprise, they beat them by 3-2, and that means that Austria, they through to the round of 16. And also it was France that played against Poland, and that game ended in a 1-1 draw. France still through because of the 1-1 draw to the round of 16, and both Austria and the Netherlands will go through. Netherlands will go through as the best loser, third place position in that group. Also in Group C, there were 2 games played, not as excited as Group D, because it was 2 games played and no goals. It was England that played against Slovenia, 0-0 that result, and also Denmark that played against Serbia, also a 0-0 draw in both those games. England will top that group now, and it is Denmark in second position that needs to play the host Germany in the round of 16. That game will be played on Saturday, and that is a 9 p.m. kickoff time in Namibia. At the moment, it looks like strong teams on the one side of the draw. It will be Spain, Germany, Portugal and France all on the same side of the draw. And on the other side of the draw, it looks like it's England, Italy and Netherlands to fight it out for a place in the final. Continuing international sports news with tennis news, it is Wimbledon that will start on the 1st of July, and it is from the men's side of the draw news that Novak Djokovic is 37 years old, a 7-time champion, is still in doubt if he will play in the tournament. He injured his knee in the French Open, and he said that he will indicate to the organizers on Friday, this coming Friday, when the draw is made, if he's fit enough to play in the tournament. Also news from tournaments taking place leading up to Wimbledon. It is on the WTA, the women's side of world tennis. It is the Bad Homburg Open that's taking place in Germany, and it is Paula Badosa of Spain that beat Julie Wiemeyer of Germany by 4-6, 6-2 and 6-1. And then also good result for Caroline Wozniacki. She's a former major winner. She beat Elina Svitolina, the 7th seed, by 6-3, 6-7 and 7-5 to advance to the next round. And to conclude today's international sports news, it is golf news from the women's golf, and it is Amy Young of South Korea that is up 20 places after winning the KPMG PGA Championship the past weekend. She was number 25 in the world, but after winning her first major, she's now number 5 in the world rankings. It was her first major that she won in 75 attempts, and previously she finished second place in the US Open twice in 2012 and also in 2015. Currently the number 1 women's player in world golf is Nelly Korda. She's from the USA, and another American in second position, that is Lilia Vu. The best placed Southern African golfer at the moment is Ashley Buhai, and she's number 41 in the world. She's from South Africa. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Let's have a look at our top highlight for the morning. Kenya's president withdraws tax plan after deadly protests, which is absolutely breaking news in Africa right now. And breaking news in the sporting world is that the Proteas, I almost said Springboks, the Proteas have made it to the final for the first time of the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup, and Africa is absolutely behind them. From me, Ashwin Berry, and the Africa Good Morning team, Soda Jokanaka.